Hi everyone, another tutorial for you. This one is a bit more intense. So this is Urdhva Dhanurasana, or working towards, which is our upward facing bow or lifted bridge. Oh, there's heaps of different ways of calling it. So it takes an awful lot of strength, an awful lot of openness in the front of the body, takes quite a bit of courage. um, and yeah, a lot of effort. So this is a pose that has come and gone for me in my practice over the years. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's really not. Um, what does it matter? But what I want to do is give you a few pointers working towards it. So it might not be something that you ever do in your practice, but each of these little elements that I'm about to break down are all good for you. It's very important to keep strength and flexibility in our back and the front of our body. So in our back bending, we speak about back bending all the time, but what we're really looking for is that openness in the front of the body. And it's all about strength for the back. So if you imagine the lift is coming from the whole of the front of the body and with that effort from the back of the body. And it means that we need you're going to find that we touch on all the different things that we've spoken about over the last few videos is you need a lot of flexibility in the wrists and a lot of strength in the wrists. You need that strength and flexibility in the shoulders as well, and then flexibility and openness in the front of the body, and hip flexors, quads, all need to be flexible as well and get this openness. But you need this intense strength in the back of the body and stability as well. So be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to explore it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But it is part of the practice and it's part of our finishing. So actually, yeah, it's easier to show you likes of the shoulder stand and the headstand that we did. That's actually easier to show you than building up to back bend. Some people think that those are the bigger poses. For me, maybe it's my body, the back bend is the bigger one. So I'm going to start with some warm-up exercises. Each stage is something that'll be good on working on in your body and in your practice. Yeah, and work where it feels comfortable for you, but with a little bit of a challenge. Which is all the practice. So coming onto hands and knees, and we'll just start with a little bit of a sway, just taking weight in and out of the hands, one hip and then the other, maybe turning the fingertips to point towards the knees or pointing out the way. And I'm just going to peel the hands up off the floor, pushing into the fingers, so building strength and flexibility at the same time. Yeah, it's that opposite. There's always a bit of everything in the work with our poses. So that's just the joy of body weight movement. So most of you know I practice a bit of calisthenics as well. Again, a bit of Pilates. It's all body weight movement. Okay, so gripping with the fingertips, settling into the centre, and inhale, extend through the front of the body, rolling the shoulders down the back and pushing the floor away. Thinking about that length in the front of your body. And then as you exhale, drawing everything in, tummy drawing in, ribs drawing in, pushing through the back as we roll through the length of the spine. Just starting to move and breathe well. So nice deep inhales, feeding all the muscles and connection in your body with lots of good new oxygen, taking away anything that the body doesn't need. And then as we extend again, we're going to round the back and then tuck the bottom down towards the hips, dropping the head down between the arms. So maybe extend a little bit deeper into your child's pose. That's all good. Feel activation through the armpit area. So pushing down into the hands, arms are straight. So you're getting that little push. And we're going to start to swing side to side. So it's now coming into the shoulder, into the lateral muscles round about the shoulder blades. Okay, coming back up onto the hands and knees. This time we're stretching forward, dropping the chest down towards the mat. So pelvic floor engaged as we extend through the front of the body and drop in and soften in towards the mat. Maybe you can push into the fingertips, lift the arms from the mat and soften the chest down a little bit more, possibly having a little bit of a wiggle and a bounce. So just go easy on yourself, feel what feels good. Okay, moving the hands over to one side, left hand off the side of the mat, right hand can place on top, or you could have the side of the hand pushing into the mat and rocking into the side of the body. So this is taking a stretch down the side, the right side of the body now, and walking the hands over and stretching into the opposite side. So far, these are just lovely stretches that with the breath you can do at any time, help you feel good, help you move a little bit more freely. Walking the hands in and tuck the toes, and we're going to sit back onto the heels. Just allow the feet to stretch for a moment. So heels are up, so we're not letting the feet cave out into the ankles, we're keeping them pushing down into that big toe, which makes it a little bit more intense. Rolling the shoulders down the back and give it a little shake. Maybe you like to take some movement through the back, it's all good as well. So from here, we're going to move forward into a lunge, taking the right foot forward. You can keep the back toe tucked or release the toes, it's entirely up to you. Hands can be to the mat, and we're going to sink forward and down. So I'm not making this lunge anything too technical. If you wanted, you could come up into your full lunge. But thinking about softening down through this left hip. Chest is coming forward, gaze is down, nice length in the back of the body. And then possibly walking yourself up. So tummy drawing in, chest lifting and starting to come back a little bit. So think about this lift from the chest, push up from the upper back, and this hip moving forward and then down. So finding the edge of your stretch if you can, maybe encouraging a little bit is all good. And release. And we'll just rock it back for a couple of breaths, lengthening through the right leg, just because it's nice. Okay, coming forward again. And this time I'm going to take weight into my left hand. I'm taking a twist, maybe catch the foot behind. It's not working for me to do. Why is that not working for me to do? Oh, there it is. There we go. So you may prefer to do this on the same side without taking the twist. Maybe move the foot in towards the hip. Just deepening that stretch into your quad and release. Going back onto the knees. Maybe take it wide and sink down for a moment. Yeah, try and not make this practice too long, but it is a good way to work into the body. Normally you would come to back bending at the end of your practice, or nearer the end of the practice when the body is really open. Okay, so moving the left leg forward now. I like to practice with the toes untucked. It's entirely up to you. So soften here, just to get us started. Maybe a little wiggle. Focus again on the breath. Just being aware of what's going on in your body, what's going on for you today. You're not forcing your back bend. You're not forcing your body to do anything. We're working with it. And walking yourself up into your lunge. So thinking about pelvic floor engaged, length through the front of the body, chest lifted, maybe coming back a little bit in the shoulders, lifting the chest a bit more. You could take the right hand to the right hip, encouraging it forward and down. Again, not overly doing it, just looking for a bit of space. That space can feel really quite intense in the hips. Just watch you're not forcing anything. Okay, I'm going to stretch into that left leg now. Just opening up a little bit in the back of the leg. We're going to be asking the muscles in the back of the legs to do quite a bit of work. So yeah, don't ignore them. Because as soon as we do, that's when they cramp. Oh, maybe it's just me. Okay, so coming forward, maybe taking that twist. Wonder how it's working on this side. So twisting into the side, maybe pull the foot in, catching the foot with the left hand and drawing it in. So this might not work for you. Maybe with a strap it would. Yeah, it is quite a deep way to twist and pull at the same time. Drawing that hip in. Not hip, heel. Yeah, don't know where you're going to draw the hip to. And release. Okay, so coming onto both knees. So still working on this opening up across the front of the body. You can come into a hero pose just to start with, settling in. You could be on a block here. Excuse me. But what we're looking for here is this openness in the quads. So depending how your knees feel to be in this kind of position, but this is what we're looking for here. You could do this standing. It's a great way of doing it against the wall, but it's very intense. I'm not going to show you that one today. So thinking about length in the back, sit it up. You could add another little back bend here. You don't have to be working towards your Urdhva Dhanurasana, maybe just working on this strength in the back as the lift and openness in the front of the body. Okay, so from here, I'm going to start to come back the way. Bring in my hands behind, fingertips tips pointing towards my toes, chest lifted, and lifting the hips. So as I do, making sure the knees are pushing down and chest lifted. So not only is this stretching into the front of the body, it's also building strength at the same time. So again, lift, maybe lift the gaze, maybe coming all the way over. And release. Okay, so either stay in that upright position and do it again, or possibly coming onto your elbows. So again, we'll just start by noticing how we are here, how the knees are, don't overdo it. And then maybe you can push into the elbows, lift the hips, lift the chest. And just be careful you're not overstraining your neck or anything else in the body by holding tension. Just checking in with how everything feels when you're there. So one more, inhale, lifting up, maybe bring the gaze back. And release. Okay, so one last little thing I'm going to do. It's almost like the puppy. So you can do a few of these pulling back, pulling the knees in. So you could do it on your knees, is pull one heel in towards the bottom. Think about hip coming forward. You're looking for that length up the front of the body here is another option rather than coming back the way, if that felt better for you. I'm going to come into our puppy again, but this time I'll use 2 blocks. I'm going to have my arms on the blocks, working a little bit on the shoulders. So when we do come into our Dhanurasana, we're kind of like this, and then we're pushing up. So you want this openness in your shoulders if you can. Okay, what is going to help? So I'm resting my arms on the blocks and settling down into a version of puppy. but with the arms extended in front. And the other thing we can do here, slide forward and come on to the elbows. Palms can come together, and again, softening down. So sometimes it just takes a little time in these little exercises. And release. So we're going to come onto our backs. I'm going to start to set up. She says. Yeah, no idea how this is going to work today. We'll come onto our backs. So coming into a version of our half bridge just to start with is always good. So heels pushing into the floor, thinking about this space across the front of the body as you lift the hips, lift the ribs, lift the tummy. Maybe you like to take the hands under the hips and lift up. So it might feel good for you to come onto the toes and lift a little higher and then push the heels down. Is another way to practice building strength and length in the front of the legs. So it builds strength into your hamstrings in the back of the legs and openness in the front. So as we do in class, our usual half bridge would be to push into the heels, lift the hips, interlace the hands underneath, rolling the shoulders under and lift up. Watching you're not overstraining the neck. My hair is in the wrong place. And it's, uncomfortable for me. So if you're setting up for your Urdhva Dhanurasana, we're going to be bringing our arms overhead and fingertips pointing towards the shoulders, elbows pointing towards the ceiling. So first few times you're going to push up, it's going to feel quite intense if you've never done it before. So as you push into the heels and lift the hips, you're going to push into the hands, lift the head from the floor and just come to the top of your head and rest on the head for a moment. I'll just show you just now. I just can't speak very well once I'm upside down. So from here, we would push into the heels, inhale, lift, and place the head on the mat. And maybe reposition the hands if that felt better for you. Bring them a little bit closer in. And then on your next inhale, you lift and push. So from here, send the knees over the ankles. Maybe you can walk the hands in a little and push again. So try not to tighten up too much on the back of the body. Tuck the chin to come down, lower, and allow yourself to lie down. So when you are upside down, try to focus on your breath and releasing tight tension parts if you can. So it might be that your bottom's really tightened up, which can cause a bit of strain on your lower back. We want all the push and lift to be coming from your upper back, not your lower back. So if you're feeling it really intensely in the lower back, maybe not ready for it yet, or maybe it could be that just as you're pushing it up, you're tightening way too much in the glutes. So we often speak in our practice about not tightening, not squeezing the bottom when we come into any bridges. And this is because it sends the pelvis into kind of the wrong position for once you're upside down. So when you do come into your bridge, you want to be lifted up through the chest and the arms, shoulders. Chest's almost stacked over your shoulders, so there's not really an angle there. You're kind of chest directly over the arms. And then as you come up, his pelvis is directly over the ankles. Knees can be bent, don't have to be straight. So I'm going to show you a little way to get a bit more space in your lift up. So I've got my blocks here. You can have them flat on the mat. Gives you more space for your lift. It's going to take out your lower back a bit. We often find that people first, when they practice back bending like this, that the legs are ready, but the shoulders aren't. So this gives you a bit more space. So in fact, if I do it on the mat first, showing you the lift with the blocks on the mat, and then I'm going to show you it against the wall. So hopefully I haven't moved out of the video. Turn around this way. So as we lift up, this gives us more length in our arms. So if you're like me with short arms, yeah, this might feel better for you. So blocks are placed where you would normally put your hands. I've got the heels of my hands on the edge. It takes the strain out if the fingers aren't flat, so it's given me a little bit more space already. Bringing the heels in a little bit wider than your hips, and inhale, lift up. Oh, that's not the right position for me. And lift, and it, yeah, that feels so awkward. I don't usually practice like that. Okay, so what that does is, for those of you that the shoulders maybe aren't open enough yet, it gives you more length in the shoulders, and more length in your arms. Against the wall, you put the blocks at an angle. This protects the wrists. Again, it gives you a little bit more space in the arms and the wrists. So depending on how you practice, not sure if you'll see this when I lift up. Yeah, so blocks again are kind of where you would put your hands. I'm going to need to move the mat forward so my feet don't slide on the carpet. Here we go. Excuse me. So nestling down between the blocks, hands are coming onto the blocks at an angle. So you've got less compression in the wrists once you're up, and a bit more space in the arms, hopefully. So as you inhale, you're sending yourself up and then towards the wall. And possibly you can walk the feet in and bring yourself a little bit closer to the wall. And then carefully tuck in the chin to come down. So it's just a few very quick tips on different ways to practice your back bend. What I would say is that it is easier if you do it in class with a teacher. If you did it with me, I can help lift you up, find what is working, what's maybe not working as well for you, and we can work on it. But if you want to work at home, yeah, try a few of these things, see how it feels in your body. Be careful. And once you've finished any back bending, it's always nice to come into a wide leg forward fold. So I quite like to bring the feet wide and allow myself to nestle between the legs, and then maybe hug round about my legs or just drape over the shins and the back's round. Again, if you're in class, I could give you a little massage, but we're not there. So give it a go. Any questions? Yeah, get in touch and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.